Hi, this is Seth Whitehead, and we're in Oblong, Illinois today at the Illinois Oilfield Museum for the second part of our interview with curator John Larrabee. And John today is going to take us on a mini tour of the museum to show some of the highlights of the museum. We're going to talk a little bit about the Discovery Well in Crawford County, Shire number 1. And the museum's actually got some souvenir bottles of oil from this well, which came in at 1,500 barrels a day. I believe it was in 1906, set off an oil boom in Crawford County. And John, I'll go ahead and hand it off to you. Could you talk a little bit about the Shire well?
All right, the Shire number 1 well, they drilled some other wells in Crawford County, but little 2 and 3 barrel wells that wasn't very big. And there was 3 people riding around the buckboard, and they decided they had the bottle of whiskey, and they said, when we get to the whiskey, we're going to throw it over our shoulder, and that's what we're going to drill. Supposedly, that's what happened. This is 1906, March 6, 1906. They shut the well and they come in at 1,500 barrels a day. They plugged the well in about 1993, and I was down there when they plugged the well, and there was some oil there come out of that well, and I picked it up in a 5-gallon bucket and let it sit out for about 6 months to make sure all the gas is out. Then I put it in these little bottles here, telling about the Shire well, 1,600 barrel. And we also bought 8/10 of an acre around that well off of a farmer. We built a wooden derrick over that well like it was back in 1906. It's not quite as tall, but we've got the derrick over there. And that's part of the museum, and the well's been plugged, but it's made a lot of oil. We have no idea how much, but it did a real good job.
John, has the whiskey bottle method of oil exploration ever worked anywhere else, or is this the...
Well, I did. I've seen a lot of people drink a lot of bottles of whiskey, but sometimes they hit a well, sometimes they don't. But the story about throwing it over their shoulder, if I drank that much whiskey, if I'd thrown it over my shoulder, I'd probably hit myself in the heel. But this is about 50 yards off the road, so that's the story. I'm not changing. That's what's been passed on from 1906.
All right, thanks, John. We'll go ahead and step inside the museum and check out a couple more exhibits. Here with John Larrabee, the museum curator. He's going to tell us a little bit about one of the exhibits at the entrance to the museum, about Mahutska Oil Company. John, can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, when they found the first well in the Shire number 1, they didn't have a company name, so they came up with the name Mahutska Oil Company, and Mahutska Oil Company means more money. And because when they had that well, they had a lot of money, and they supported ball teams, bowling teams. He had homes, and this fellow here is one of the owners. He had a house in New York, Paris, and not where else. Built the Crawford County Country Club over here and gave that to the city. He was the first civilian to have an airplane license. He gave money away like it was water. His niece sent a lot of this stuff to us about 5 years ago. She didn't want it, so she was in Spokane, Washington. And she called one to know if we wanted it. We said definitely. But it's Mahutska Oil Company. It's for more money. It's a Indian name. But it's they always had the picture of the Indian. And Ohio Oil Company bought it out in 1964, which is now Marathon. And but they've been plugging a lot of these wells. But they were a very big company. That's what started this whole business.
All right, John, and just to give folks an idea of the activity that was going on in this area back in the day. This is a picture of Robinson, which is just down the road from us. And about what year is this, John?
Probably about 1906 to 10.
And you look at, hopefully you guys can all see this picture. You got the city here, and in the background is just literally dozens of oil derricks drilling in near Robinson, Illinois. Yeah, it's just remarkable. It's kind of like what you might see in modern day Midland, Texas today. But that's the part of the history of the Illinois oil industry is right here, here in Robinson, just down the road from where we are. All right, we're checking out another exhibit here in the museum, another couple exhibits, and one of the interesting things about the museum is they have a number of scale models, and this one I find particularly fascinating. It shows how the old-timey oil fields operated, and John, can you talk a bit about this model?
Well, of course, these wells were drilled. They didn't have electricity or anything back then. They had some gas engines, but that took a lot of engines to run all these wells. they'd get one power unit, normally a Busaris, 25 horse or 35 horse. They'd run like this, and it's run on an eccentric out here. And you notice how it pumps all these wells. There's 2 of these still operating in the state of Illinois. Both of them are down here about 12 miles. And the engines make enough, the wells make enough gas to run the engine, so you don't have to buy electricity or gasoline or anything. All you have to do is just put lubricating oil on something that's going to be wearing. And it's pretty well self-sufficient. All the wells are pumping. This no here is just electrified. And it all comes into these tanks. The gas is flared off here, and the oil goes in the tank. We have a water tank that's not existing here. But this is the way they work, and there's still 2 of them, like I said, 2 of them still operating in the state of Illinois. We have a lot of other exhibits that someone took a lot of time and patience to build all this stuff. We're very proud to have it on our schedule here.
And John, can you tell folks about what the photographs we have behind us here?
Well, this picture up here is the Marathon office in Findlay, Ohio. The one down the lower left is Marathon Refinery at Robinson. The next picture up is Yates Field in Texas. Well, there's 200,000 barrel a day, the biggest well in the state, in the country. Marathon had it, and there's Marathon gasoline. This one down in Garysville, Louisiana. This is a scale model of a rotary rig. This is what's called a double. It pulls 2 30-foot joints at a time. It had a mud pump and a doghouse and pipe tubs. You have the Kelly there in the middle that does the turning, the rotary table. Everything is to scale. It's amazing what this guy could do. He would take a 2x4 and whittle it out, and it's something. We're very proud of it.
Yeah, and this is just one of a number of scale models here in the museum, and you can literally see how the oil industry, how oil is produced, and even to the point of refining. And you can definitely come up and check it out. It's fascinating to check this out. Thanks, John. We're back here in the museum and checking out some of the artifacts, and this behind me is a really particularly interesting one. Kind of catches your eye, John. Can you tell us what we're looking at here?
This is an old horse-drawn tank wagon. They used to deliver kerosene out in the country. People, before they had electric lights, they'd have kerosene lamps. They delivered kerosene in this thing. On the back is a little meter, but there's a horse-drawn tank wagon that had been in a building over here at Robinson. Marathon had it. And in 1961, they wanted to get rid of it because they needed the space. We took and built a building for it. The city of Oblong did. This has been in there. And we've got to move the thing down here, this new one, but it's definitely a collector's item. Very proud to have it.
John would like to take a moment to explain the significance and uniqueness of this rope that we have here. John, can you tell us about this?
This is probably 500 feet of rope, this big rope. We had a lady here about 5 years ago from the Smithsonian Institute, and she said this is probably the longest piece of rope there is in existence. This is what they used to drill with, but hadn't come out with steel cables yet. But they pulled this rope here. We just happened to have this spool. She said they'd like to have it there at the Smithsonian Institute, but like I was telling Seth, we still got it, and it's probably going to stay here. That's what they used to drill with before they come out with steel cables. We're just glad to have it.
Has this got any sort of unique ingredients in it?
Well, of course, it was back then and made out of hemp, which is today a different type of hemp, but we just glad we have it.
But we want folks to come up here and check it out for themselves. In case you're not familiar with Oblong, it's on Route 33 between Newton and Robinson.
We're open last May through October, 1 to 5, Wednesday through Sunday.
Museum located right here in Oblong, Illinois. Be sure to check it out. Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Thank you.